Well, welcome viewers. Thanks for coming in. Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist, Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. Sunday the 15th of the 10th. 15th of the 10th, 2023. Thank you for coming in. We're up early this morning and we're going to get into it. One thing I want to say to you is you might be the only person, maybe, hopefully not, that comes across particular people's paths that stay around long enough to give them the opportunity to see there is a life beyond the darkness. And the darkness is all around us. It doesn't go anywhere until the sun comes up. And you may have been the sun coming up in somebody's life and they saw it. Now, what they do with it is on them. It's not on you. You could go intimate with this person. You could have a relationship with this person. Most relationships are going to start off relatively well. That's how it works, whether it's in the personality disorder sector or not. It takes a certain amount of time for the disorders to surface, or the sinful nature to surface. The sinful nature will surface when it's got what it wants, when it's had its fill. You turn to gravel in their mouth. There's a passage that says, stolen food is sweet to a person, but then it turns to gravel in their belly. You can bring the light to people. You can bring your power and all the work that you've done for your life to people. But that's not a guarantee that you're going to get that in return. And you have to accept the rules of battle. Love is a battlefield. And it's no good getting upset if you haven't navigated it properly. You have to be aware. You have to watch the way you're being treated, how that person looks after themselves, what their ways are in which they live, and how they implement the relationship into their life. A lot of people now use people just for supply, and that is a culture. That's a culture. It's a culture of no value. It's a culture of zero or debt. There's no worth being built. And you'll know this when you with these people. They will come and go. The energy that you put into them will be used in places that it shouldn't be. A lot of them aren't transparent. A lot of them, their damage is done in silence. Looking at MPD, narcissism. Narcissists are usually, or the word narcissist is usually brought up by way of rage or anger. And this anger usually comes up by frustration. Somebody's stepping back in the relationship. And the person who's being used for supply is objecting. And a lot of people are interpreting this objection as narcissist. It's not. It's the narcissist who's used the person for supply, and now that person doesn't suit, so the narcissist has gone devalue, disqualify phase, discard, and the person's opposing that. That's not the narcissist. No. That's the hurt empath. The narcissist is the one that just goes backwards because it suits. That's who the narcissist is. You cannot reduce narcissism solely to people that are angry and cruel. And no, you can be an empath and be angry. You can be anybody and get angry. Narcissism is not. It's much more sinister and diverse than just anger. As a matter of fact, the narcissist will try and keep their anger stealth, because if they get angry, they lose supply. You lose supply. People don't hang around when you're angry. So the narcissist is an expert of hiding anger until they meet a narcissist and they get devalued. Then you'll see tremendous control and manipulation rage through anger to try and keep that person subordinated. If somebody doesn't want to be with you, you should be aware enough during the journey of the relationship to know the signs. Okay? There is a part in a relationship where everything can be quiet and running cool, and we're all on the same page. There's no deception, there's no deceit, there's no substances, alcohol, drugs, or anything. We're all in the right vibration. But what you'll find with people that aren't running right within themselves, they'll usually be addicted to some form of substance or another. They'll be asexual to some extent. They are interested in themselves intimately. They will, because that's coming out of the mind altering in the substances that they're using to medicate with, or as recreational. This type of person that disintegrates but wants to try and keep you to as supply will be split. They'll be emotionally invested in other people intimately, and they may not be sexual with them, but they will use the emotional intimacy that should be shared with you in places that it shouldn't. They live in a love-bombing world where if you can impress somebody by how good you are, that gives them a sense of identity and attachment. They're very insecure. They don't want to be left on their own, and they'll enmesh and keep people enmeshed where possible. That's why if you're not awakened or awoke, you will be caught by the covert sinful person. They are looking for special targets, people that they can find that will give them good supply. Empaths that are genuine about having a strong, powerful relationship. My experience, which started back at the age of 8 and didn't stop at that point, so I had to build up an extensive understanding of the moods and ways in which girls work. You get the ones that stay alongside you, you get the ones that dart in and out, you get the ones that come along and have a piece of you and you never see again, you get the ones that aren't going to let you near them, you get the ones that are going to, they like you. But as you get older, you start to see the ways in which people are damaged. And their tolerances reduce, their protection of themselves increases, but there is a world out there that's very negligent towards themselves. They'll drug on, they'll get on the drink, and this is their way of trying to find that secret place, intimate place. They can't face it without some kind of medicinal assistance. But when you're going through life and you're fully straight and fully on fire and fully aware, you can watch. You're not influenced by the intimacy. You're not influenced and overcome by the body parts. You present yourself, you give yourself, you demonstrate healthiness in the relationship, but at the same token, you're not blinded by the love bomb phase. You're not blinded by this person's demonstration of intimacy and what they do and don't do behind closed doors. You're just sharing an experience. Now, if that builds love, it builds love, but it won't build anything if it's just based on you being a form of supply for somebody else to take away and waste whatever their life is doing at that time, because people have no idea of the power that they gain from intimacy. They don't know how to transform it for the masses, I'm talking about the masses, into accumulation for life. Accumulation of respect, accumulation of profit, accumulation of health. I've seen these people come and they take the A-grade supply and waste it. They waste themselves. They go home and the next thing you know, they've had the best night you can put on offer. They've been fed. They've had their intimacy. They've been showered. They've been breakfast. Send them off to work with a hug and kiss. And then the next thing, they're doing something self-destructive. Now, you have to be aware that that's how the sinful nature works. It's self-destructive. But if you're not being self-destructive and you're with a self-destructive person, see, this person's split. They want their cake. You're the cake. And they want to eat it too. They want everything else that's going to work against that as well. Or the things, or it might not be everything else, but things that will work against what you're in agreement with. And if you're not watching the signs, you're not realizing that you're with somebody you shouldn't be with. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. They're just not culturalized. They're not at the same place in life that you are. So you might be the only form of light. These people, they don't run into people that have gotten through life, living the way they do intimately, right, at the high intimate delivery level. Because this is where a lot of people try and gain influence in the sexual realm. But if you're a normal, healthy, functioning person that is skilled in the intimacy realm to deliver and receive, you won't be influenced by the love bombing and the performances that go on to try and cover up the lack of connection intimately. Because if somebody's intimately connected with you, they're not going to cause you trouble. Believe you me, they're going to make the relationship as easy as possible because they understand how a relationship's supposed to work. If somebody's causing you trouble, they've probably never been in a relationship that's produced power and worked. They've just stayed with people that have abused them, used them, shared them, and allowed them to self-destruct. When these people meet somebody with discipline and is able to say no, they're fascinated by it. But that doesn't mean they're emotionally connected to you. You have to, all of you, men and women, if you're serious about trying to keep your mental health and have a relationship with somebody that's able to produce power and use it effectively for their life and not waste yours, you have to be fully aware. There's no other way that you're going to make it, because your time will run out. You will have wasted it with people that are wasting theirs, and it'll all be all too late. I'm 50, nearly 58. I just haven't got the time to be alongside people that are going to self-destruct. They're living in a life of self-destruction, and they're destroying everyone else around them that's closest to them, and they're encouraging it. So I hope that helps somebody how important it is to be straight, alert. Do not let things affect your mind. Everything comes back to your mind. Everything. You can be watching this person doing everything they can, not even knowing it, to try and pull you down. And just watching it and go, oh yeah, and go do what you got to do to keep moving forward. And as that person's dishonoring themselves and showing that they're not going to be a good partner right, relative to the way in which they live and treat themselves, no matter what they think themselves. Because a lot of these grandioso people, that when they realize the grandiose gap between their reality and their fantasy, they end up depressed and anxious because they can't live what they see themselves to be. And when somebody comes along that's in the light, has done the decades and decades and decades of pounding the pavement to be aware and to be awake and to not let anything near this, the blazing light, the raging fire fascinates them, and they end up love bombed. They love bomb themselves because they live in a world of love bombing. They live in an emotional realm of highs and lows, manic depressive. So our next scripture, when I come to it, which won't be in this session, do not let your heart envy sinners. Do not envy these people that are using you for supply. Don't, because you're going to attach to things that will wear you out. Always continue in the fear of the Lord. What is the fear of the Lord? The fear of the Lord is to pass away from evil. The fear of the Lord is to repulse evil. And people that are evil are coming to you and having sex with you and all the rest of it, but they're not with you. For surely there is a future, and your hope will not be cut off. But you have to make the effort to be able to identify whether you're attached to a user or not. I'm Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist, Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. Thank you for joining me, and bye for now.